Okay, for this unit, we're going to be doing one of our first formal essays. Up to this point, we've practiced writing in a lot of different ways, and we've especially worked on thesis statements. What we're going to do now, though, is we're going to try to write a full essay. Now, on the screen here is the prompt, and you're going to have the entire unit, the entire 2.5 weeks to work on this essay. It's a take-home essay, obviously, so you can work on it in small parts. You can do it all in one sitting and turn it in early, get some feedback, and then return it in. This is a process, but the full and final essay is going to be due on December 17th before we go on holiday break. This is the prompt. You can kind of ignore this and where it says suggested writing time. This is from when I did it in class last year. So, 40 minutes to an hour is probably a good amount of planning and writing time. Again, you can break that up or do it all in one sitting. This needs to be your own authentic work. Even though it's take home and you can use resources like the internet and your textbook, I will be carefully looking for plagiarism, and you should not be copying and pasting or using big ideas without giving credit. You do not have to cite or do MLA format or anything like that, but if you do use a source, I would want you to give credit and list that source at the end of your essay, just so that we know where your ideas are coming from. Um, here's the instructions, and on this, I'm going to kind of break down the prompt for you and then go over the rubric. The prompt says, evaluate the extent to which Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal successfully solved the problems of the Great Depression. In your essay, be sure to address at least two of the following topics: the role of government, the use of media, or the judicial challenges of the New Deal. Okay, now, first thing I want to say is I've used this entire prompt to organize our unit. So the very first thing that we're doing is we are looking at the problems of the Great Depression. You guys have just done a discussion board on the statistics and on how bad the Great Depression was. To do this question, the first thing we have to do is understand the problems. So we're going through that, you're reading about it, and we're making discussion posts. Then we're going to have to look at what does Franklin Roosevelt and his plan, the New Deal, do to address those problems. That's what's coming up over the next week or so. And then within this essay, it says be sure to address at least two. The role of government. I'm going to have a lecture on that. The use of media. We've got a homework assignment about the radio and FDR's use of fireside chats and the judicial challenges of the New Deal. We're going to have a discussion post and an article to read on FDR and the Supreme Court. So over the next 2.5 weeks, we're going to address all parts of this essay: the problems, FDR's actions, the role of government, the use of media, and the judicial challenges. You need to combine all that you're reading, all that you're learning, and put that into a cohesive essay. Now, here's the last thing on this. What type of essay is this? This is a persuasive essay. You're making an argument. You're taking a side. In this case, evaluating the extent to which FDR was successful. You need to write an essay that says, hey, the New Deal was successful. It worked at fixing these parts of the Great Depression. Or you can write an essay that says that FDR's New Deal didn't work. It was unsuccessful or ineffective at fixing the Great Depression. You can take either side. And maybe most thoughtfully, or to show critical thinking, you could show both. It worked at fixing this, but it didn't work at this. It was successful in these ways, but unsuccessful in these. But either way, This essay is an argument. You're trying to make a claim and convince the reader of your position. Let's go to the rubric. Um, as with all of our grades, you're going to get a 4-point score for this. And I'm basically going to break it down: thesis, support, analysis, and then general. We'll start with the general. You're not going to get a point for a poor attempt. You'll get half a point for good effort, and you'll get a full point as long as your essay is organized and accurate. I'm expecting this to be a traditional 5-paragraph essay. An introduction, 2 to 3 paragraphs of support, and then a conclusion. This should not exceed 3 pages. I think 1.5 to 2 pages is probably a good essay for this. 1.5 to 2 pages. If you go on to a 3rd page, that's fine. But this is not college. This is not, just because it's take home doesn't mean it needs to be a 10-page paper. 1.5 to 2 pages is what I'm going to probably call full. And as long as it's organized, accurate, you're going to be in good shape there. So this is kind of your format and your effort part of the rubric. Again, no plagiarizing, no copy and pasting. And if you do borrow ideas, give credit at the end. Thesis. This is what we've worked on a lot. We've said 3 things about a thesis. It makes a claim, it gives a line of reasoning, and it shows critical thinking. No thesis gets no point. A thesis is present. Maybe it does one of those things: claim, evidence, critical thinking. Maybe it does 2 of them okay. If you're going to get the full point, it's going to show me all of that. You're going to take a side, successful or not. You're going to give me a line of reasoning, meaning I can see where your next paragraphs are going to go. And the best theses show critical thinking, maybe a bit of a counter argument or a rebuttal. Support. This is a historical essay. You need to back up your claims with historical facts. If there's no facts, if this is all just fluff and BS and opinions, you're not getting a point. For some specific examples, 1 to 3 pieces of evidence, you'll get half. And if you've got several specific pieces of information, these are facts. These are agencies. These are vocabulary terms. These are going to be from the 1920s and 30s to support your argument. 4 or more would get that full point there. And then finally, analysis. This is maybe the most subjective of all the points. I'm kind of trying to judge your critical thinking. Here's one way to break this down: describes, explains, or complex understanding. Are you just describing to me what happened? This is what happened. This is what happened. You're giving me a lot of the what, then that's a describes. I'm not going to give a lot of points for just telling me the story. Again, this is an argument. You will get half a point if you can explain. Somebody who explains gets into the how or the why. You're not just telling me what happened or when it happened, but you're telling me how it happened or why it happened. And then complex these are the people that really have a grasp of the situation. They understand the nuance, the complexity, multiple variables or different points of view, considering the diverse evidence. So again, this is a subjective point, but I'm looking for you to show me higher level thinking and not just describing what or when something happened during the Great Depression. Okay, so this is your take-home essay prompt. You've got the next 2 weeks or so to work on it. I have several days on the calendar set aside just for you to work on this. We will cover every part of the question as we go through the unit. So if you want to wait till the end of the unit until we've covered this stuff, that's fine. If you want to work ahead, you can do that. This is the rubric and how I'm going to score it. And I'm looking forward to seeing your best writing. This is our first go at a full essay. We will have a couple more in the second semester. But I think, this take-home virtual learning scenario is a good place for this to start. Looking forward to see what you write. Um, Again, send me any questions. And if you want to submit early, I'll grade them quickly and get it back to you, and you can resubmit if there's stuff that needs to be fixed or improved. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and good luck with this big assignment.